God just spoke to me. If that's a hard pill for you to swallow, you may not want to watch this video. But this last week, something happened, and my mind and my heart, my spirit tuned back in to the frequency that was willing and able to receive the message that, quite frankly, come every single day. But it's been an epiphany. I haven't had an epiphany in a while, and I've been in dire need of one. So, welcome. Today, we're talking about God. I'm Shauna Meyerson, just a human in Los Angeles, here to help you pick up the pieces after your breakup. As some of you know, and others of you have figured out, I've been going through the 12 steps of Alanon. Alanon, if you're not familiar with it, is a 12-step program for friends and family of alcoholics. I was in a relationship with an alcoholic who had abusive behaviors, and I left that relationship in November. So I've been working my steps since November. The hardest one, I think, so far, I'm only on step 4, is step 3. I've always had faith in God, but step 3 requires that you actually give your life over to the hands of God. That's a hard one to not really swallow so much, but figure out for me. Because faith, I'd say, is something I've always had. But handing over my power, boy, that's a tough one. I'm somebody who has always liked to maintain control of myself, of my life, and if I'm going to be totally honest, the lives of some of the people around me as well. A little bit about my faith journey. I'd say it started when I was 9 years old, and I started studying Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, in school. Has a lot to do with numerology, and I love numbers. Maybe that's why, among other things, I love the 12 steps. There's 12 of them. The second enlightening process that entered my life was when I was 29 years old, and that's when I discovered yoga. Now, I know that a lot of people think of yoga as just turning yourself into a pretzel, maybe standing on your hands. Yeah, I do all that stuff too. But the deeper practice of yoga is a very spiritual practice. It's about coming into the union of your mind, your body, and your spirit. And when you dedicate to this practice, there's no doubt it will change your life forever, and it absolutely changed mine. So the third life-changing process that I've experienced came last November when I joined Al-Anon to move through some of the trauma that I experienced in my last relationship. It's funny. A lot of people think that I should be very upset with my ex for his behaviors towards me. I have to be honest. Introducing me to Al-Anon has been one of the greatest gifts that anyone has ever given me. I know he didn't do it on purpose, but for that, I'm extremely grateful because my life is changing. So, the message that changed my entire perspective came last Saturday. I had been seeing this new guy who I thought was incredible and fabulous and everything that I wanted in a guy, right? I didn't hear from him for 24 hours, and that night I went to bed begging God, please have him contact me. I really want to get to know this guy. Sure enough, he called me the next morning, and we went for a beautiful hike and a drive up the coast. It was absolutely dreamy, except for the fact that he started telling me so many scary things about him, like he cheated on his wife, and it was somehow her fault. Like he's left every woman in his life without any fanfare. Like he doesn't like conflict, so he just lets it build up until it explodes, and boom, everything ends. Like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, and it has never been clearer to me. Never as in ever. That it's not my job to question God. He didn't want this guy to contact me because this guy is not good for me. I thought I knew better. And so God was like, okay, you think you know so much? Let's take you on a hike. So The 12 steps by design are allowed to be a non-linear process. And so though I've been working on step 4, I knew that I had sort of pushed through this concept of step 3 because I just wanted to move on, because I couldn't figure out how to get step 3 to resonate, and I was hoping it would just come to me. Halfway through step 4, step 3 just came to me. And in this past week, I really understood for the first time and accepted God is in control. I'm not in control. Yes, I'm in control of my own behaviors and my own thoughts, but I am not in control of the world around me. There are too many variables. There are too many circumstances that are going to occur that are 100% independent of me. To try to control them would be insanity. Mentally and emotionally, this experience has really calmed my mind and calmed my heart at a time that's been really punctuated by extraordinary anxiety and fear of the future. All of a sudden, I sort of feel okay. I'm understanding that God's got my back, and right now I'm going through a valley, but every valley is going to be followed by a peak. There's only one way to go from down, and that's up. I don't know the timeline. I wish I did, and I wish I could accelerate it. But suddenly, if not just for this week, I'm actually feeling okay. I understand if you think it's crazy that God literally just spoke to me, but let me tell you what just happened. I was running the Santa Monica stairs, which is where I get all my greatest epiphanies, and I was really sort of ruminating on my need for validation. I feel very invalidated in this world, and it's been sort of trying on my mind a lot lately. Out of nowhere, a woman I have never seen before in my life stops me on the stairs and says, "You're a superhero. You are a goddess." I literally started crying. Granted, I cry a lot lately, but it's all for a good purpose. It's just been such a cathartic process. Going through these steps, coming closer and closer to the kernel of who I am. The part of me that isn't just created by God, but is actually God itself. If I were to take away my skin and I were to take away my bones, all that's left is my soul. And a soul is like a drop of water in the ocean. It can't be extracted from the ocean. So this is also a very yogic concept, that I'm not just a creation of the Creator. I am the Creator itself. So, if I am God, is God gonna do anything that is not in his own best interest? And also in the middle of this huge validation crisis. Last night, I'm just sitting on my couch, and out of nowhere, I get a direct message from a huge yoga Instagrammer telling me, "I just wanted you to know how much you inspire me every single day." Oh my God. And by the way, I don't say "oh my God" lightly. I prefer "oh my goodness." But seriously, oh my God. God is speaking to me right now. And I'm telling you, it's not always easy to tune yourself to hear the messages. I've been in this space before, and it's an extraordinarily transformative space. But sometimes our hearts close off. So right now, the question is, how can you open your heart? How can you open your mind to the messages that you may or may not be receptive to receiving? In my estimable opinion, I think every single person on earth should go through the 12 steps. And it forces you to take a fearless inventory of yourself, of your life, of your beliefs, of your behaviors, and really to take accountability for your own life. It's so interesting because so many people have told me, oh, I believe that, if you stay in the 12-step program, it's because you are sort of perpetually framing yourself as a victim. And I will say it's really quite the opposite. The 12-step program is about taking control over your life again and releasing your need to control anybody else but yourself, right? To accept the things you can't change and to change the things that you can, to make sure that you are living your highest, best, truest, kindest, and most honest and genuine self. Now, I'm just a baby in this program, so I'm not here to pretend to be some expert on the 12 steps. I'm just here to tell you how it is changing my perspective on not just myself, but on every single person around me. It's funny, I have a lot of therapists and a lot of life coaches in my life, and I've been talking to all of them about my 12-step process and also encouraging them to do the process themselves. Many of them, I would say most of them, I would say most people in this world have had some sort of alcoholic influence in their life, and so it would be hard to exclude anybody from this superset of people who actually qualify for Al-Anon. But whether you qualify or not, going through this 12 steps is an incredibly enlightening and empowering concept. It's an incredibly powerful process. And here's what's funny. All of these life coaches, all of these therapists are telling me the same thing. Oh yeah, no, I studied that. I understand it. And I think it's so great that you're doing it. And I'm like, well, no, actually what I'm saying is, I think you should do it. It's going to change your life. And they all go back to, oh yeah, no, I know all about it. I studied it in school. There's a big difference between theory and execution. There's a big difference in this world between talking the talk and walking the walk. Let's give a little bit of an example. I'm a yoga instructor. My specialty is handstands. So I'm really good at teaching handstands. I could get just about anyone into a handstand, and right now, if you wanted to, I could talk you through it step by step, everything that you need to do a handstand. You could take copious notes and I could give you a test on handstands, a written exam, and you could write down, oh yes, the hands go here, the core does this, the shoulders do this, the legs do this, blah, 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 blah. That's not going to get you into a handstand. What you know in your head is very different from what you do in your life. Going through the motions is not the same as actually completing a task. Let's review the Serenity Prayer, children, shall we? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. If somebody is so caught up in their role as a healer that all they can do is accept the theoretical as it applies to others, it's the opposite of the Serenity Prayer. This is called trying to control others by healing others without trying to change the things you can change, which is looking at yourself and your own weaknesses. We all have them, but sometimes it's hard to let go of the ego enough to accept that. Perfection is not reality. There's no perfect people in this world. And so why not look at our own weaknesses so that we can do the best we can with the tools that we've been given to flip them and turn them into strengths. So when I started this channel, I had it linked to my yoga channel, and I had my yoga channel linked to this channel. But so many of my friends and family shamed me into taking down those links, saying that nobody is going to want to study with a yoga teacher who is so broken or so vulnerable. I can't account for anybody but myself, and I don't want to alienate anybody or scare people away. Not everybody is comfortable with vulnerability. So the links are down. However, I do have to say that I am very proud to have this channel and to be able to do what I can to allow myself to be vulnerable to my world, to open myself to anybody who needs a little help right now, who needs a little faith. and also as sort of a testament to the fact that God is good. God is good. I have to trust that. At the lowest point in my life, God is still good. At the highest point in my life, God isn't any better. He's there the whole time. He's constant. He's teaching me lessons. I am learning the lessons. This is the process of my life. So what about you? Have you ever tried a 12-step program, or are you in one? What has been your experience, or what's holding you back from starting? If you're going through a hard breakup, and if you're watching this video, I have to assume you are, take my word for it. It's gonna change your life forever. It will change your perspective, it will change your heart, and it will change your mind. If you really and truly not just want to move on, but want to move onward and upward, I highly recommend it. And let me know how it goes. I hope that it's as much of an epiphany for you as it has been for me, and I hope that it's a path that follows you from now all the way through the rest of your life. Because healing isn't a finite process. Healing is the process of growing, and it is one of the only constants we have in our lives. When you dedicate yourself to God, you dedicate yourself to you. Let's all make this dedication and commitment to have better lives, better relationships, better accountability for our actions, and to put ourselves at peace, knowing that God has got our backs.